There is nothing more frustrating than seeing the person at work who does the bare minimum get promoted year after year. And that's because they understand what it really takes to get promoted. So that's what we're gonna be focusing on in today's video. Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Brittany Hayles and I'm the career coach that gives you the confidence to go after what you want during your career. Okay, so if I'm keeping it real, there are a million reasons why you may have not been promoted yet. One of the main reasons is that you and your manager probably do not have the best relationship. That doesn't just mean that they don't like you or you don't like them. It could also mean that they don't truly understand your value in the workplace. And so as much as I would like for hard work and doing the best work to be the reason why you get promoted, it just isn't. Having that phenomenal relationship with your manager is probably top priority, if I'm being completely honest, because even if you do bad work and your manager likes you, they're gonna make a considerable amount of excuses to get you where you wanna be. So in today's video, I'm gonna be walking you through 3 issues you may be experiencing with your manager that are holding you back from getting promoted and how to deal with them. Think about it from your own perspective. When you really like people, you advocate for them, you push for them, you make excuses for them, and that's exactly what a good relationship with a manager does. So the first issue is that your manager probably doesn't find you approachable. I'm sure you've heard the phrase before of people hire who they like, not necessarily who's best for the job. This exact phrase goes along with why people get promoted. So if you have ever gotten feedback that you are unapproachable, or you, for whatever reason, just don't have people skills, or they feel uncomfortable around you, this is a red flag that you probably are not getting promoted anytime soon and probably will never get promoted in this specific workplace. One of the clear signs that they probably do find you unapproachable is that they make very little interactions with you, maybe possibly even no interactions, or the interactions that you have are super awkward and feel very uncomfortable. All of these scenarios are one under which a manager or a leader is just gonna feel, they don't feel connected to you and you don't feel connected to them. It's a mutual relationship. So in that case, again, they're gonna find it really hard to advocate when it comes time to do so, to say, hey, put this person up for promotion or promote her or him, because they don't feel friendly with you. They don't feel comfortable around you. They don't feel like there's a great relationship there. What's the solution? Take hold of that relationship with your manager and form it on your own. For whatever reason, your manager is just not making an effort to have that relationship with you, or there's a possibility that you may not even realize that you have a fence or a guard up because you feel uncomfortable at work for whatever reason, like I said before, or this is a new environment for you and you're still feeling things out. Whatever it may be, you're gonna have to take that wall down. You're gonna have to bring out that confidence in order to build a relationship with your manager. The way in which that looks, and the easiest way to do it, is start organizing one-on-one meetings with your manager on a regular cadence. And those one-on-one meetings could be weekly, bi-monthly, monthly, quarterly, whatever makes most sense to you. I would recommend bi-monthly, so twice a month, so that they're a little bit more consistent, because quarterly is like they remember you and then they forget about you, and then that's just not enough time to get to know each other before it's time for promotion. And this is especially true for Black and brown people in the workplace. And I've had this experience myself, and I've seen it with other people as well. When we're talking about approachability, friendliness, personality, getting along with each other and creating a rapport, a lot of the times what tends to happen is that as a Black and brown person, you're put into a workplace with people who you may not identify with from a personal and cultural perspective. So now you're feeling slightly uncomfortable building those necessary, genuine, authentic, friendly relationships, because you may not even feel comfortable in the space itself as being the only. And let's think from a managerial perspective. Let's say you're a manager who's working and managing people who are Black and brown, and you've very rarely been in Black and brown spaces, and now all of a sudden you're responsible for not only managing this person but creating rapport and having a relationship with them. That's really difficult if this is the first time in your life that you're ever doing this. So when they're like, hey, black and brown people are being promoted at a lesser rate than everyone else in the company, it's not even always conscious. Sometimes it's just unconscious based off the fact of we come from two different environments and you may not have been exposed to these type of people at any point in your life, and then all of a sudden you're being expected to form relationships with them, which may be really hard. And now you find yourself 3 years into a job not being promoted because you're having difficulty developing relationships with people who are just very different culturally than you. And even if it isn't your first day of work, I actually have a video right here called How to Make a Good First Impression at a new job. And even if you've been at your job for 3 years, there's a lot of really great gems in this video that talk to you more about what you should be doing in order to build a strong relationship with your manager. Reason number 2 is that your manager feels threatened by you. Now, for this second reason, I actually want to introduce this phenomenon called the pet to threat phenomenon, which is this idea and creates a broader framework around how your manager could possibly be threatened by you and what some of those signs would look like. So there was a study by Dr. Keisha Thomas, who is a professor at the University of Georgia. We love a study. We love a study. We love a study. And she discovered this phenomenon known as the pet to threat phenomenon. And it especially affects black women. That's what she found through her studies. And essentially the way it's described is that when you first start at a company, you are the pet. Everyone loves you, everyone's empowering you, everyone's figuring out ways to grow you because they're just really excited for you to be there and you make them look good, right? You're doing everything in your power to be great and they're doing everything in their power to help you be great. So you're now the pet. Now, there comes a certain point in your career because you're really great and you excel at everything you do, and that's literally why they hired you. There comes a point where they poured into you so much, specifically your manager, that you start to actually surpass them. You're doing too well. If they're not doing that great, you could potentially be outshining them, and that's when you become a threat. And when I heard this phenomenon, I was like, wait a minute, this has happened to me before at previous jobs that I was at. And then it's also happened to a lot of my friends and people I know in the industry, which is so crazy because it's like a career and a job and a manager hires you because you're so amazing. And then you come in and they're like, don't be that amazing, don't be better than me. Which is like, your manager literally feels threatened by you. You came in as the cute little pet that wanted to do everything and help everyone and they wanted to help you. But now, you're doing too much, right? And naturally, if your manager is a jealous or envious or insecure person who lacks confidence in themselves and their ability, they're gonna be very threatened by the fact that you are so phenomenal and at some point could surpass them pretty soon or start gaining opportunities that they've always wanted because you're just so great. So some of the signs that you may be experiencing this is that when you first started in your company, everything was cool, everyone loved you, your manager loved you, and then all of a sudden there's just like this switch where they're being a little bit standoffish, a little cold. They're not presenting you opportunities as much. Or when you bring them opportunities that you want to be involved in, they're holding you back. They're kind of like, no, they're blocking you from them. That is a pure sign that you're experiencing that pet to threat syndrome and that they are 100% threatened by you. And the tough part about this is that it's an extremely uncomfortable and detrimental situation for your career because now this person could possibly be behind the scenes blocking you from greatness, aka a promotion. Your manager is probably feeling like you're doing so well that you don't need them. And again, that's coming from a place of insecurity because at the end of the day, like, it just never gave that. But some people are literally like that. So you want to develop this mentor-mentee-like relationship with them. Now, what does that relationship look like? Well, it looks like exactly what it sounds like. You need to be going to them routinely for advice. Make them fit. This is a little bit of a psychological warfare, but I don't care. That's literally what the workplace is. You get up every day and it's a mental warfare. You have to make them feel like you admire their advice, you appreciate their advice, you're essentially the teacher's pet. You got to put yourself back in that position where you're going to them for advice before you pursue new opportunities. You're going to them for advice before you decide to volunteer for a project. And again, that doesn't mean you have to necessarily take their advice into consideration, but just the fact that you came to them for advice on a project, on a career challenge that you have, you're now putting them in a space of being a leader again, so they don't feel as threatened, because they're like, wait, okay, he or she still needs my help. Because again, they're just feeling insecure and threatened by you because they feel like you don't need them, right? And you don't need them. And again, like I said, you're still gonna make the decision that you want to make, but you gotta play the game a little bit and make them feel like they are the teacher and you are the pet. And the worst thing you can do with a manager who already feels threatened by you is start going behind their back and having them be blindsided by your achievements and your successes. Like, you literally need to tell them everything. They need to feel like they're a part of the process. I know this all sounds exhausting, but at the end of the day, work is exhausting because you don't work for yourself. You gotta learn how to do this in your life. And even if you have a manager who's not threatened by you, like, you should be filling them in because they wanna feel like they're a part of your process and they wanna feel like they're a part of the reason why you're so successful. Now, even with all of this in mind, and you still could be telling them everything, let's say you're already doing all of that, there are some absolutely insane people in this world where it's like there's nothing you can do. They're always going to feel threatened by you because they need to seek therapy immediately. So to navigate that, continue to tell them everything. Don't stop doing that. But now you're going to have to step out of the realm of them and go to their boss or probably other managers on your team or within that organization and let them start building that mentee-mentor relationship with them as well. If you know people in your organization or leaders or executives in your organization who are specifically responsible for promotions, you need to start building deep relationships with them as well, letting them know everything that you do, filling them in on advice, because that's how you're gonna navigate that crazy manager that you have who just, no matter what you do, no matter how much you tell them, no matter how much advice you ask for, they still feel threatened by you. And like I said, this person is already very insecure and very threatened. So at the end of the day, please, I'm begging you, you should not be building those relationships with their colleagues if you're not building it with them. Because now you're blindsiding them. Now they're even more threatened by you. Now they're getting crazy. Like, you're feeding the fuel to their fire. So make sure that whatever relationship you're building with these other people, you're also doing it with them, or else your situation could end up being worse. Your manager is usually not the only person responsible for promotion within an organization. There's usually other people, such as their manager or other managers on that team or in that space. So make sure that you have like a full circle of people who can advocate for you, just so that you can navigate and circumnavigate, I should say, your manager who may be slightly crazy and cannot get past their insecurity of feeling threatened by you. So the third reason is that your manager just isn't aware of your achievements. Like I said earlier in this video, it isn't always that your manager doesn't like you. Sometimes it's literally they don't know the value that you have in the workplace. As much as it is technically your manager's responsibility to know what you're doing and what you've achieved and the successes you've had in the workplace, it's just not how it works realistically. You do have to let them know. You have to make an exhaustive amount of effort to let your manager know what you're working on, what you're doing, and how great you're doing at work. The way I like to think about promotion is that each manager is responsible for pitching their employees and their reports to whoever is responsible for doing the promotions. So when it comes down to pitching, you want to make your manager's life as easy as possible by letting them know every single thing you're doing. And not just doing that right before the promotion, but throughout the year. So in your one-on-one meetings, let them know. Send them an email. Like, just let them know on a consistent basis by bragging about yourself. And again, it's their job to grow you, to empower you, to make sure that you're doing well. You gotta get comfortable with that. And I know it feels weird at first, especially if you're not used to doing that, but you have to just lean heavily into promoting yourself and bragging about yourself. And I also want to tie in the black and brown perspective. For me as a black woman, and a lot of my clients are black and brown, a lot of times in the environments that we grow up in, we're not encouraged to talk about ourselves. And even when we do, we're kind of shot down sometimes. Like, it's just a cultural phenomenon. We don't know why it happens. It is what it is. So it may be hard if, like, from a childhood to teenage years, you weren't encouraged to do this, and now all of a sudden at work, you're being encouraged to talk about yourself, right? So I understand that perspective, and what I recommend to my clients, and just everyone, including myself, is start getting into the habit of telling your parents and your family and friends about everything that you're doing. Just like start bragging about yourself with your parents, and even if they shut you down and they don't care, like, just keep doing it. It's a muscle that you have to work, or else you're gonna lose it or not use it at all. Now, once you get into that habit, it's going to become even easier for you to do that with your manager. So the more you let them know, the easier you're making it when it comes time for them to promote you, to talk about you, brag about you, promote you. What I'd recommend is that you set up a shared document with your manager and highlight on a weekly basis everything that you do or everything that you're working on, so that when you go into a meeting with them, you can just go ahead and run down that list of everything great you've done. You can also send your manager a weekly or bi-weekly email just saying, hey, this is everything that I've been doing and working on recently, and these are my successes, and just make sure that they respond back to you. You don't want to send that email and then there's just dead silence. Like, follow up with them a few days later if they don't respond back. And I've actually had a lot of success with this, and I've recommended it to other clients, and their manager loved it. Because again, you're making their life easier. And the last thing you can do as well is, this is what I highly recommend because it's so easy. Anytime you get a favorable, positive email about your work or something that you did, please forward that to your manager if it hasn't been already. This is gonna very much let them know, like, it's not just coming out of your mouth, it's coming out of someone else's mouth, how great you're doing and how great of work you're doing. So please, please, please forward those emails to them as well. So we're now at the end of this video, and I just want to reiterate everything. Realistically, of course you have to do good work, and I'm not saying go to work and just go to sleep. No. However, do not put such an emphasis on doing amazing work that you go to work and put your head down and go home every day. It's not going to get you promoted. It is not going to lead to your career progression. You have to prioritize relationships within the workplace, specifically with your manager, if you want to get promoted. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, that's because you liked it and you love me, which means you should subscribe. Okay? Like, why would you come all the way to the end of this video and not subscribe? Click that subscribe button. And like I said earlier, I am a career coach, and if you are struggling with any of the 3 things listed, or you're just struggling with getting promoted in general, I'd be more than happy to help you figure out a strategy to get you to where you want to go and help you have a better understanding of what's going wrong in your situation. Because like I said before, there are so many reasons why you may not be getting promoted. Usually it is your managerial relationship is the #1. So let's chat. You can use the description down below to figure out how to schedule one-on-one time with me, or email me at info@haylesconsulting.com. Thank you all so much again for watching. Please share this video with anyone who you know is going through this. Like, I want to make sure that my videos get to as many people as possible, because these are real things that we're going through in our career, and it just makes no sense to me that I would share, like, just hold on to this information. So I'm making these videos for y'all. Please share them. Please share them. Please share them. Like this video so that it can hit the algorithm and rock it, and also comment down below with any questions that you have if something wasn't clear. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.